What's up, everybody? My name is DJ LiftOFF, and welcome to part 3 of this 3-part scratch series with Hercules. Now, if you haven't checked out parts 1 and 2, make sure you watch those first as we cover some of the fundamentals, some music theory fundamentals, as well as went over a few scratch techniques, okay? Now, in this particular part, I'm gonna be doing a performance mix, and then I'm gonna be breaking down some of the techniques and scratch patterns that I use in this performance mix. So, without further ado, let's hop right into it. So there you have it. That is the full performance mix. Now, the two techniques that we're going to be learning from that mix is going to be the crab scratch as well as the stab scratch. Now, both of these techniques are going to be part of the second scratch pattern that I'm going to show you. However, the first scratch pattern that I'm going to show you is going to be using things that we covered in the first and second part, okay? Now, both of these scratch patterns are going to be 1-bar scratch patterns. So if you watch the music theory lesson, which was lesson number 1, you should be able to follow along with this particular breakdown. So let's go ahead and break it down. So for this first 1-bar scratch pattern breakdown, we're going to start off with just a forward scratch or a drop. So we're just going to have our crossfader open and we're going to push forward just a little bit on our vinyl. Then we're going to catch here, and then we're going to just pull that back, just like that. Now we have a chirp scratch. Just like that. Now we're gonna do the same exact thing again where we drop. We're gonna pull back. Now here we have 2 quick baby scratches. And then we have 2 chirp scratches. And then that's the entire scratch pattern. And then at the end, of course, we're dropping. So now to actually count this out, we're gonna have this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and drop. So within that scratch pattern, we have our baby scratch. We have those 2 quick baby scratches, which sometimes again is called the scribble scratch. And then we have that forward scratch and we have that pullback. All of those are things that we cover in the first 2 lessons. Now let's go ahead and hop into the new techniques that we haven't learned yet. Now the first one is actually going to be the stab scratch. So the stab scratch is gonna look just like this. So all we're essentially doing here is we're making sure our track is actually playing. We're at the beginning of the track. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna hold our thumb over on the crossfader so it's all the way to the right over here. Now all we're gonna do is give our crossfader just a little click and we're gonna push forward. Just like that. And now before you actually pull back, you're gonna go ahead and close that crossfader, then you're gonna pull back. So click, immediately close, then pull back. So in slow motion, it looks like this. So that is your stab scratch. Now the other scratch technique we're gonna go over is called the crab scratch. Now this one's gonna look like this. So with this, all we're essentially doing is we're in that same exact position as we are for the stab, except for this one, as we go forward, and this can be you actually doing a forward scratch, so you can drop the vinyl and then pull back, or you can hold onto the vinyl, go forward, and then come back. But essentially, as you're going forward, starting with your ring finger, or I like to start with my ring finger, you're just essentially pushing on the crossfader and doing 3 clicks, just like this. 1, 2, 3. And then as you come back, you're gonna do the same exact thing. So the first thing you really want to practice is just doing this with your crossfader. Now, when you're holding that crossfader with your thumb, you don't want to hold it too hard, so you do this. And you don't want to hold it too softly either, so it pushes over just uncontrollably. You want to find that middle ground so it just feels comfortable as you do those 3 clicks with your fingers. Now, essentially with the platter or with the vinyl, all we're doing again is we're pushing forward and then coming back. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the second scratch pattern that we're going to be breaking down. So for this scratch pattern, let's go ahead and first do it slowly. So there's our full 1-bar scratch pattern. Now to break this down, this is essentially what we're doing. We're gonna start with our crossfader all the way to the right here. Now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have a click forward. We're gonna catch that vinyl. We're gonna close the crossfader, and then we have 2 clicks back. Okay, so that's gonna be our first part. Now after that, we have this. Okay, so now breaking down that second part. We're here. All we're gonna do is we're gonna have 1 click where we let a little bit of the track play. Then we're gonna go ahead and close that crossfader, and then we have that reverse stab here. Okay, so essentially let a little bit of the track play, close that crossfader, catch your vinyl, then reverse stab. So now we have all of this. So now once we're here, we're gonna go ahead and drop that track again, starting with a click here. We're gonna catch the vinyl, close the crossfader, and now we have 2 clicks back. These are transformer scratches back. Now we have that same thing again with that reverse stab, where all we're doing is we're opening our crossfader, letting the platter go, or doing a drop, closing that crossfader, then we have a reverse stab back. So now once we're here, we're gonna go ahead and drop that track again, starting with a click here. Then we're gonna close that crossfader. And now here, we can do a crab scratch back, or we can do 2 transformer scratches back. So that's just a transformer, or we could do a crab. and then we're dropping right here. So that's that full 1 bar scratch pattern. So one more time slowly. Now, one thing with this scratch pattern that you can change, if you're not comfortable doing that crab scratch, you can actually replace that with 2 transformer scratches back. So that will look like this. You can pretty much use either one of those interchangeably. Now, to actually count this second scratch pattern out, we have this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and drop. So that's going to be with the transformers back. And now let's do it with the crab scratches back. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and drop. So that wraps up the third part of this scratch series. I truly hope you all learned a lot, starting with those fundamentals all the way up to some of the more advanced scratch techniques. Now remember to practice, practice, practice. Scratching is no easy thing. It definitely takes a lot of practice, and it takes time, discipline, and commitment to really get these different scratch techniques down. Also, remember to practice these scratch patterns over and over and over. Now, again, I hope you all enjoyed this 3-part scratch series. My name is DJ LiftOFF. Happy scratching.